Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening. Wherever you're at, whatever time zone you're in, please let us know below. So today's book summary is Atomic Habits by James Clear. This is just a summary on this book if you're interested in getting it as one of my suggestions. It is a great book to have in our little wealth building strategy library. All right, so we're going to move on. I'm probably going to take my face off of here so I don't become a distraction to myself, by the way. All right, so change your life, change your habits. Why small habits can make a big difference. Some people focus on the wrong thing. They focus on the end goal instead of where the journey is. I have a bad habit of doing this myself, so I definitely need to listen to this more. So normally we don't notice tiny changes because the impact is not seen immediately, but sometimes the impact may not be seen for months or years, but the results can be enormous. For instance, eating a slice of pizza certainly ain't going to make you unhealthy, but if you're eating a slice of pizza every night for the next 2 years, over time you're going to start putting on some weight. So results in life are a measure of habits, and that's why it's important to change them. And the way I've always changed mine are a little bit at a time. The net worth of a person over time is simply a measure of their financial habits. I mean, we look at millionaires and we're like, wow, they must be doing something right? And we want to follow them and learn what they're doing. And I definitely do that myself. A person's health is also a measure of how they diet and exercise. And when we see people that are super healthy and they're doing something right, we want to go and ask them what they're doing so that we can try and learn it. But most of these people do things consistently over time, and they get built up that way. It's not like they just started doing it last week and now they're suddenly healthy. They've been doing it for a long time, a little bit at a time. So another thing this book talks about is how you form your habits. And form your habits are just like I was just saying, that you first have to understand how these habits are formed, because if you learn how they're formed, and then you can realize, hopefully, if you're sane, you can realize what is causing them. For instance, I have a sugar thing, or a sugar addiction, I guess you can call it. It's easy to get addicted to sugar because we start when we're little getting handed all this candy. So when you get older, you start realizing this. Of course, when I'm young, I don't really even want to hear it because I like the taste, but I can never lose any weight, right? So what's the deal? What is the problem here? I don't want to be handed medication to help me. I want to figure out what the problem is, and it's something usually mentally, or you're addicted to some kind of ingredient that makes you want to keep having this craving. And this craving could go with anything, not just sugar. This craving could be something in your life that could be gambling, shopping, alcohol, drugs, whatever the thing is in your life that you cannot help get rid of. You need to find out what is causing the craving, the way you're responding, and how you're feeling afterwards. If you can try and do that, that might help you change the habit. The habit loop can be done daily, right? Sometimes we have good habits and bad habits, like we'll get up and brush our teeth. Now that might be a good habit. And the feeling is you get a fresh, clean mouth. So you might keep doing that, right? Now, drinking coffee is another one. I mean, this isn't a horribly bad habit, unless you're getting crazy with like adding whipped cream and syrups and all kinds of sugars and all that kind of stuff. If you keep doing that every day, you're going to start putting on weight. So you have to decide what is causing these habits to be formed. Is it some kind of craving that's making you feel good temporarily? So this is what this book goes over, by the way. I'm not going into every little detail. Okay, so another chapter is make it obvious. Okay, so the first thing we see as humans is we use our vision, if we have vision, and we can see our behaviors and how it's affecting things. Another thing is, for instance, physicians at a hospital in Boston believe they can improve the eating habits of their staff and visitors by manipulating the environment. So they decided to replace soda with bottled water in the refrigerators next to the cash register. But they didn't stop there. They started adding bottled water to every drinking station in the cafeteria. Over months, the number of bottled waters increased while the soda sales decreased. And making these simple adjustments caused people to drink more water than soda. So this is what I mean by obvious. So you need to change your environment. And like in your refrigerator, when you open the refrigerator, you don't want to keep having all these bags of chips or alcohol or drugs or whatever's causing your bad habits. You don't want to keep them around. You want to kind of put them out of sight. That's what I mean by vision. Out of sight, out of mind. So that could help you with your habits. Creating small visual cues can bring attention to your desired habit. We want to lose weight. We don't keep a bunch of cakes and pastries all around us because we already know that we're going to be tempted. You want to try and find healthier snacks to keep around, right? It can be the same with alcohol. You got to find an alternative thing to alcohol, which I don't know what that would be because I don't have that problem. So, but if you're an alcoholic, then you would know that yourself. The same with shopping, okay? You got a shopping addiction. Try to make it very difficult to get to the Amazon store. Try to do not save your credit card in there where you can push one button and it'll be sold already. Another thing is you want to make your habit, the good habit, more attractive. So it's going to be easier for you to do it. For example, anytime we have pleasure, our brain releases dopamine, exercise, sex, whatever makes us feel good. Sometimes it's drugs. There's certain drugs that will make your brain release that dopamine. Certain thing that makes you feel good, like Christmas morning when you're getting a gift. You just got engaged. You just fell in love. Whatever the dopamine is. And these are the things that make you become addicted to whatever the high is that you're getting off of these things. Let's just say you ordered something shopping and you're high on this shopping thing and you can't get off of it. Then you need to make it inconvenient for you to keep shopping and spending all this money. It's the same with gambling probably too, right? You win at gambling, you got that dopamine high. And you cannot get off of it, right? You can't get off of it probably till you start losing, and then you start losing a lot of money. You probably need a psychologist maybe to get off of that. I don't know how you get off of that high like that unless you're realizing that you're doing it and you can be pretty strong. But it's something the gambling thing, I don't know how you would get off of that, really. If anybody's a former gambler and is listening to this, then maybe they can help you. Okay, make it easy. Make it easy for you to get into new habits. Stop worrying about how to make a new habit. You got to do this in baby steps, by the way. And I've never been a gambler, so I'm not really sure how you would do that, but I imagine that would be a pretty tough. The same with drugs, but I think they have medications to help people get off of drugs a little bit at a time to eventually get you weeded off of it. Now, the gambling, I'm really not sure how you would get off of that. That's interesting. I'll probably have to research that. The more energy a habit requires, the less likely you are to repeat it. Okay, yeah, that's true. So the more energy it takes for you to do a habit. Here comes the ice cream truck, by the way, so we got some music in the background. I don't know why we have an ice cream truck in March and April. I really don't, but whatever. We're going to move on. Okay. There are tips and tricks, and they might talk about some of those in this book. Maybe it'll even help with the gambling thing. I don't know. I didn't see anything. But making a hard habit seem impossible or difficult to break. Okay, so trying to think of this in with sugar terms. If you make it really hard for me to get to that sugar, or very hard for me to get to that shopping center, or hard to get to the horse racing track or the gambling casino, you take away your car, hide the money from the person. By the time they lose all their energy and focus trying to get there, that might be a good way to help get off of that habit, by the way. That might be a good psychological trip. If you are with a gambler and you know they have a problem, that might be a good way to help them, is to just make it so difficult for them to get to the casinos and the horse racing track or wherever they do their gambling at. But, they'll be so exhausted, and then, over time maybe they'll quit. I don't know. But buying things in bulk and storing them in the house. So here's a little example of making it hard. The habit of sending cards out, because we don't really send cards out too much anymore. I know I used to do that a lot. Sending out cards for birthdays, if people were in the hospital for celebrations, birthdays. We don't do a lot of that anymore, but let's just say an example of this would be you do that. And if somebody has a habit of sending cards and making it a little easier, they'll buy them in bulk and store them in the house, and the person is likely to, let's say she would send the cards more easily if she had the cards in the house. It's a nice habit to have. That's an example of a good habit, by the way. Sending out cards. That's what it means by making it easy. Now I'm saying that would be for the new habit. But the old habit, we want to make it difficult. We want to make it difficult for you to get to the sugar. We want to make it difficult for you to get to the mall or the gambling place or the bar if you have a drinking problem. All right, make it satisfying. All right, successful companies understand the concept of this by far. Okay, we go to work every day and our reward is a paycheck, but it might not come till the end of the month. So you have to get to the gym every morning and go, but you might not see the results of your weight loss and your muscles for weeks and even months later. It's going to take a while, and that's where perseverance steps in, because you know that eventually you're going to get your reward, and it's hard to stay focused on this. Immediate satisfaction, you might see delayed consequences. This is why people still smoke when they know the risk costs their lives. The consequence of cancer might come until 20 years later, but at the moment, their smoking helps them release stress and satisfies that nicotine craving. But these delayed consequences and delayed rewards, it's important to attach them to immediate gratification. So this is where emotions are so important, Immediate gratification, we want that immediate gratification. We're in a world where everything's got to be immediate. But they do have things to help people that want to get off smoking. I know they have patches and these vapor things out now that help. So I know that the smokers do have things that are helping them if they're interested in getting help and getting off of that nicotine craving. Just like I said, we all have our things that we're trying to work on. And the importance of habit tracking. So for some people, they need to write things down because it helps them. So Benjamin Franklin used to do this, from what I read in this book. He took a little booklet wherever he went, and he wrote down his conversations and anything that he thought would be useful throughout the day. And he also kept a diary of his healthy habits. I guess this would help him stay motivated. If you don't have anybody to help you stay motivated, then you might want to do habit tracking. If you have an accountability partner or somebody that can help you, that would be even better. Some people might have a therapist that they go to that they talk to that helps them keep up. I guess you could go to me too. You could go online and contact me, and maybe I could help you. All right, another example is an entrepreneur in Nashville. He created a habit contract to keep him on task for working out. So him and his wife signed a contract forcing them to get their weight down. I mean, this definitely, if you have a problem doing things around the house or fixing anything, that might be another good thing. Sign a contract and get your partner to commit to fixing things around the house. They have a problem. They want to sit around the house and watch television instead of fixing things around the house they need to fix. That might be another good one. So signing a habit contract could be another one. Okay. Many people believe that making big changes is the key to success, but really it's the small things, the baby steps in our lives that have the biggest impact in our lives. Nothing happens that easily. I'm sure a lot of you are already aware of that. And wealth building usually takes time too, because we are going to mess up and make mistakes, and we're going to lose along the way. So like I said earlier, forming new habits can be difficult. And if you can figure out what your trigger is and a way to overcome it, and not overcome it cold turkey, if you can do that, that's fantastic. But most people have to do it in steps. You have to have alternatives, and it's the same with sugar as it is with smoking and alcohol. With smoking, they have alternatives. With sugar, they have alternatives. They have monk fruit sweeteners, stevia sweeteners. They have sweeteners that are not going to raise your blood sugar. So usually you can find alternative ways to overcome your bad habits. So that's what you want to look for, or you want to make it super difficult for these people to get to their habit. Okay, such as if they're an alcoholic, you don't want to help them get to a liquor store. You don't want to help them get to a bar. You might want to take them to a park and give them a walk so they can work it out, and leave them alone in the park and let them walk a little bit so they can get to their higher power and get all that, whatever they're drinking out of them, All right, anyway, I'm going down a rabbit trail. But make your habits attractive, easy, and satisfying. The good ones now. The hard ones, you do not. You want to just make them hard, just like I said, or come up with alternative ways to help them, with some steps to help them get off. And I do know that alcoholics have those Alcoholic Anonymous groups and stuff like that. So when they want to go to the bar, they probably have that for gambling too. When they want to go to these bars and all that, they have an accountability partner at these places they can talk to that might help talk them off the ledge. Anyway, this is a good book. It's not super long. This video is probably longer than the book. So you might want to check it out, listen to it if you're sitting in traffic, driving home, whatever. This is not sponsored by Audible. I just get most of my books by Audible. Okay, I'll see you all in the next video. I wonder who stayed till the end.